This is why I said all the way back on January 16th that I hope the president fails. He is singularly targeted and focused on destroying American capitalism, and I don't want that to succeed. I want that to fail big time. We have one more soundbite from the president's little press conference this afternoon in the South Lawn of the White House. A teleprompter in this bite told President Obama to compare Timothy Geithner to Alexander Hamilton.
I have complete confidence in Tim Geithner and my entire economic team. Understand, as I said before, Tim Geithner didn't draft these contracts with AIG. There has never been a Secretary of the Treasury, except maybe Alexander Hamilton right after the Revolutionary War, who's had to deal with the multiplicity of issues that Secretary Geithner's having to deal with all at the same time. And, he is doing so with intelligence and diligence. Nobody's working harder than this guy.
Well, he's not getting anything done. He's a tax cheat, and he's not getting anything done except further ruination. Now, Alexander Hamilton, very deft move by the teleprompter to tell President Obama to compare Geithner to Alexander Hamilton. I am prepared for this one. The intellectual hero of Abraham Lincoln was Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson lived at the same time as Alexander Hamilton. And they did not get along at all. Would you like to hear what Thomas Jefferson thought of Alexander Hamilton, and thus, by extension, Timothy Geithner, because the teleprompter just told Obama to say that Geithner is Hamilton? All right? From the book, Thomas Jefferson, by R.B. Bernstein, page 90, Jefferson feared that Alexander Hamilton had plans radically at odds with the Constitution. As Jefferson saw it, Alexander Hamilton wanted to warp the federal government out of constitutional shape, converting it into a copy of the British government built on debt, built on corruption and influence. Jefferson charged that Alexander Hamilton's goal was to ally the rich and the well-born with the government at the expense of ordinary people, creating a corrupt aristocracy leagued with the government against the people and destroying the virtue that was the basis of Republican government. Now, we can argue, ladies and gentlemen, about Jefferson's assessment of Alexander Hamilton. However, I wish to read this to you again, and I wish to say to you that Thomas Jefferson has just described the objectives of Barack Obama and the people he has brought into his administration. Listen to this again. Jefferson feared that Alexander Hamilton had plans radically at odds with the Constitution. Check. So does Obama. As Jefferson saw it, Hamilton wanted to warp the federal government out of constitutional shape. Check. So does Obama. That Hamilton wanted to convert the government into a copy of the British government. Check. In modern times, we would call this a Western socialist democracy that is the UK. That is built on debt, built on corruption, built on influence. Check, check, check. Debt, pile upon debt created by Obama. Corruption, we got tax cheats as the Secretary of the Treasury. We've got lobbyists running all over the White House after Obama said there wouldn't be any there. And influence. We have Rahm Emanuel calling members of the media every morning to plan coverage of the Obama administration with the stenographers in the mainstream press. Thomas Jefferson said that Hamilton's goal was to ally the rich and the well-born with government at the people's expense. Check. What is happening here is that every Ivy League egghead, be they Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter to me, every Ivy League from Yale to Harvard to Wharton, you name it, That's where you will find the best and the brightest. These are the people, led by Robert McNamara, that gave us the Vietnam War. The best and the brightest. These are the eggheads that I was talking about earlier this week on Monday. These intellectual eggheads who simply live to exist on and in government. They are the smartest people in the world. They're the elitists. They look with contempt at people who are not of their station and of their pedigree. These are the people whose destiny is government service, government power. These are the people who view government as an instrument for them to shape and form for their own benefit while telling everybody else that actually they're working for the benefit of ordinary people. Check, check, check. Thomas Jefferson has accurately described exactly and precisely what the Obama administration and its elements are all about. A corrupt aristocracy leagued with the government against the people and destroying the virtue that was the basis of Republican government. This is prescient. Thomas Jefferson talking about Alexander Hamilton. We can argue, as I say, whether he was right about Hamilton. But since President Obama's teleprompter told him this afternoon to compare Timothy Geithner, the tax cheat Treasury Secretary, to Alexander Hamilton, then it now fits what Thomas Jefferson feared Hamilton was doing is happening as part of the Obama administration. Profound stuff.